for half a century.
Unknown aircraft, you have been intercepted by Republic of Singapore Air Force.
They've kept our skies safe.
We cannot afford to fail, and this is what Singapore depends on.
Pioneer, prepare to mount. Mount!
So the drivers in front, the beacons behind.
Ever watchful, whether from the ground or in the air. This year, as the Republic of Singapore Air Force celebrates its 50th anniversary,
2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 45.
On the Red Dot brings you unprecedented access to Southeast Asia's top air force, where everything hangs on a split second.
Whichever mistake I do, they will be going down with me.
We'll find out what it takes to become the nation's top guns.
It's 1 month to Singapore's 53rd birthday. As the island decks out in the national colours of red and white, at Paya Lebar Air Base, preparations have begun for an aerial show to remember. These F-15s are among 26 aircraft that will fly over the Marina Bay during the National Day Parade. This year is extra special for the Singapore Air Force. It's turning 50 and celebrating with 2 big aerial shows. The parade fly past on August 9th, and 2 days later, a spectacular performance over the Marina Barrage. It's set to be one of the busiest weeks in the Air Force calendar. Over at the barrage, rehearsals for the Golden Jubilee Air Show are in full force.
For Twister, you guys are now left on track approximately 1.5 to 2 weeks past.
This afternoon, the Apache helicopters are testing their maneuvers at the show venue for the first time. It's a new environment, so they have to take extra care.
We definitely have to do some ground study of the hazards and obstacles, ships and the coastline and all that, which may affect our positioning, headings and pose hazards to the flight.
Different copy, next pass will be 5 degree pass.
Yeah, go ahead.
Copy, 1 minute.
This is also the first time 2 Apaches are performing together in an aerial show. The choppers prepare for a difficult move called the tail sweep, one that challenges the Apache's maneuverability to the limit.
So in the simulators, the tail sweep is one of the harder maneuver to accomplish. A high nose altitude, 180 degree change at low airspeed. The aircraft tends to be a little twitchy. I managed to control the aircraft really well today and got the parameters right on.
Madagascar Twister, how was last pass and track and function?
Being in an aerial display team, we need to have a strong rapport with each other, and we must be able to speak to each other candidly because we need to be harshly critical of each other's flying. We don't take each other personally. We are very professional with each other.
Over at Sudong Island in the south of Singapore, a team of F-15 and F-16 pilots are also training for the Golden Jubilee. Sudong's flat terrain and size allow them to practice their maneuvers at low altitudes, away from public view. Only a week before show day will they do a dress rehearsal at the barrage. It's only the second time F-16 pilot Shaft is flying an aerobatic routine. The first was in February at the Singapore Air Show.
Is it okay? Good? Okay, so your pumps are good.
Tower, Falcon ready for takeoff for Sudong display area. Falcon Department Reach 5,500 feet, clear takeoff runway, wind 130, 6 knots, spread down hook wire and meet you up runway surface wind. Falcon 2, roger that.
I've been qualified to fly the F-16 since 2012. I remember the first time I entered the cockpit of F-16, my thoughts were, wow.
Falcon, step back. Roger that.
There's always this thrill of exhilaration every time you power up on the takeoff roll.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And then as we lift off the ground,
Falcon's pulling up now.
that thrill will go away as well, because now the pressure of what comes next starts setting into our minds.
The F-16 is small and nimble, ideal for executing aerobatic loops and twists a few hundred feet above ground. Flying in an aerial display requires a lot more skill and nerve compared to a regular high-altitude patrol. And Shaft is not yet able to summon the confidence he needs.
Surong Tower, Falcon entering display area for full show. Falcon 3 in. Falcon 2, moving in.
Flying down low, the low-level regime is very unforgiving. I have to find it in me to overcome the fear of certain maneuvers. I was very afraid of getting into the correct position. People told me that the formation is a bit out of position, but I said that's outside my comfort level because it's something new. Speaking truthfully, I feel that most of the time I'm actually holding back what I can do.
Shaft's lack of confidence is his biggest enemy. It's the reason he's been unable to perfect a maneuver called the spear, where the three jets make a vertical loop and then a horizontal 360-degree turn at low altitude or flying meters apart.
So what I'm seeing is I feel the ground rush coming towards me. I see the boats and the ships, the tankers, and I have this two huge aircraft in front of me that I'm flying underneath. Keeping my head in that position for such a long time, looking up and just staring and just making sure that we're not going to collide with each other.
This time at practice, Shaft once again falls behind his position.
What's in? What's up? Falcon 2, you're falling off. Falcon 2, copy.
Warning, warning. Warning.
Shaft corrects himself in time and completes the routine. But his performance is not up to the mark.
Anything just now? In particular? Did I give you a hard time over the stern?
No issues.
Because it felt bumpy.
Jerky was Shaft's pilot instructor 5 years ago, and Shaft has looked up to him ever since.
Jerky, he's very smooth with his controls. There's no up and down, unnecessary changes or reactions. I think that's due to his experience as well. My first impressions of him were that he was a very serious person and he demanded very high standards of his students.
Yeah, go and queue up the tips and then we start a debrief ASAP.
He always feels that I'm zooming in on him. But the only reason is because he needed that attention and I saw a lot of potential in him. You know, when the mentor focuses on a student, it's always because we care. When I tell you every day that you're doing an awesome job, it's probably because I already give up.
Maybe you tell me your limitations and what you see from a jet, then we try to see if we can come up with a better plan to make sure that you don't keep falling off.
He sort of showed me the way and told me like how I can better safeguard myself, keep myself safe, as well as make the show look better and improve those maneuvers.
Try not to screw up the next one.
We're rough around the edges now. The consistency isn't there. What we need to do is
start strong, end strong, and we've got time to work on it.
So after a long tiring day, I'll typically come home, spend time with my girlfriend and my mom and my sister.
Again. I don't know where I don't want to fly anymore. Tessa, you cook for me, huh? Tessa?
Can.
You cook, I makan and I enjoy, I relax.
Always cook for you, you want?
You cook steak. You always make steak or spaghetti.
My mom and dad are separated, so my mom actually brought me up. My mom had actually supported me in growing up and fulfilling my dreams.
You need to learn some local food.
Learn from Master Chef.
Who?
Mama.
Mama lah, Master Chef.
Shaft always had a fascination with airplanes. It was a visit to an air show as a child that lit the first spark of his passion. By the age of 12, he knew he wanted to be a pilot.
When I enlisted in the Air Force, my mom actually tried to help me financially. Even when I went overseas, she just make sure that I don't have to worry at home. But yeah, I think my mom was just awesome.
There are times, but that I also worry for my son because a lot of tough training he has to go through. But I will tell him sometimes that you encounter a lot of roadblocks, but that actually make you even stronger. So confirm on the 11th you're coming by after you finish, you'll come down and meet all of it?
I believe my mom will be proud to see me flying in the aerial display show. This time round, we can wow her with some of the new maneuvers. My mother will definitely be there. If she doesn't, I will find someone to kidnap her and bring her to the Marina Barrage.
The Air Force has now entered one of the busiest weeks in its calendar. The Golden Jubilee weekend is just round the corner, but first, there's the National Day celebrations. 25,000 spectators packed into a single location. It's a magnet for mischief, even mayhem. Security for this prime national event falls onto agencies such as the Singapore Air Force. The night before National Day, a group of airmen and women are getting ready for a special mission.
Pioneer, prepare to mount. Mount!
Under the watchful eye of Platoon Commander Tay Si-yi, this ground-based air defense unit, or GBAT, is preparing for deployment to a secret location.
So the drivers in front, the beacons behind. So PCB will be here. Then 12 Alpha, 12 Bravo.
Armed with advanced surface-to-air missiles, the platoon will scan the skies over Singapore on National Day and leave potential aggressors with no chance to attack.
So what I do is to make sure that the guys achieve mission success and everything flows smoothly. It is quite stressful to be part of this event, but at the same time, it's quite it's a challenge, I would say.
The GBAT missile system is one critical piece of Singapore's defence. The other is its unmanned aerial vehicle, a state-of-the-art surveillance drone that today has been deployed high above Marina Bay.
Come on, Singapore! Let's wave our flags and sing along with our...
As the parade gets underway, every action is being captured and tracked by aerial imagery experts. Nothing escapes their notice.
Next drone landing time is by 18 to 4.
With his Air Force colleagues forming a protective dome against potential threats, Fly Past Marshal Benny Lui can focus on orchestrating a good air show for the crowd.
Dragon, 15 seconds to 1 second, 1 minute. Yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Known as the Mother Goose, his task is to coordinate the precise timings of the aerial display.
So my job is to ensure that the aircraft arrive over the show center on time, on track. It's a great responsibility, and it's always naturally exciting because I get the best view to see our own aircraft coming in on time, on target, and we know that we have done a good job. So it's always very satisfying.
After months of preparation, the National Day Parade has come to another successful close. But the Air Force busy week isn't over yet. In 2 days' time, it will put up the biggest air show of the year for its Golden Jubilee weekend. Three months of intensive practice has led F-16 pilot Shaft to this day. It's the morning of the Golden Jubilee Air Show, and in a few hours' time, he'll perform in the biggest aerobatic display ever mounted by the Singapore Air Force.
I feel kind of excited as well as feeling a bit anxious. I don't usually talk to my mom about my anxiety or my fears. Just like her to think that everything is all right and cool, and I can manage everything on my own.
Mid-air collision potential is going to be high. 3 of us operating in a small airspace. Don't push any closer than required. 2 minutes.
Before every performance, before every flight, we will run through our flight brief.
1 in 1.8.
Where the flight lead, which is going to be Jerky, he'll run through the mission data cards, and we will mental fly these profiles together as though we are actually going through the entire sequence with the comms, the pacing, and everything that we normally do in flight.
350. Coming left. 350. 2's in.
It's a routine that I'm very familiar with. However, today is slightly different because the anxiety to perform, to do our best, also leads to thoughts about me making my mom proud when she's watching the showdown at the showground.
There is a certain level of anxiety involved with any performance. No show is perfect, so it's how we deal with the mistakes that we make that really sets us apart.
Inside the F-15, pilot Shooter and his partner Splice prepare for takeoff. Shooter was a late addition to the aerobatic team, but he and Splice have built the chemistry and confidence needed to execute their show maneuvers.
Thankfully, I have Splice in my backseat, so he's able to give me the direct feedback when I'm not doing a certain maneuver correctly. If he sees something, he's just gonna say it and then we'll fix it.
During aerobatic practice, Splice acted as a second pair of eyes for Shooter, making sure he hits his mark at the right time.
I trust him with what he's doing and trust his abilities. Shooter has been doing very well to handle all these challenges, and he's learning very, very fast. Now we are ready for the Marina Barrage.
Taiwan Tower, Falcon ready for takeoff for Marina Barrage display area.
The Republic of Singapore Air Force celebrating our 50th anniversary.
Woohoo! Singapore, get ready!
Barrage display, Falcon entering area for full show.
The show is going well, and inside his F-16's cockpit, Shaft is brimming with confidence.
Falcon, stand by for vertical loop. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Falcon pulling up now.
When you see the crowd for the first time, it's pretty exciting, but then the anxiety just gets taken away.
Pulling out. Is that a helix? Flip. Go.
The pilots prepare to execute one of the most demanding maneuvers in the show, the spear.
Falcon, here, go.
It's the same move that got Shaft in trouble before. In previous rehearsals, Shaft tended to lose his position in the formation. This time, his timing is perfect as Shaft's F-16 hits its mark just behind the other two jets. The crowd loves it.
Oh, that's him! My son.
And Shaft's mother, Ivy, is especially proud.
Each show that he performed, I just get goosebumps. I just feel like it's really one of the proudest moments in my life. Oh, the best formation was the part where they were actually both going to meet in the middle. That one really makes me really cringe because I'm so afraid, like, oh, it's so close. Anytime they just, whoo, that's a close call. That was really, really scary.
Over 2 days, the fighter pilots dazzle the crowd with their aerobatic display. Not to be outdone, the Apache helicopters show that they too can deliver a heart-stopping routine.
Aerial demonstrations, air shows, demo teams are important to the RSAF. That's the only time the general public can actually see us maneuver the aircraft aggressively low to the ground. It's basically also showcasing to people the level of discipline that the pilots have. In order to execute this kind of show, it's not easy. So it's also a deterrence in many ways. A good team, when the other teams see it, they are like, okay, you know, obviously they have the skills.
The Singapore Air Force has come a long way in 50 years and now faces ever more complex and sophisticated threats. But it has a secret weapon. A group of resourceful, quick-thinking men and women who have shown that they can work together to address any new challenge thrown their way. The Golden Jubilee celebrations are over, and now it's back to work.